Good morning. We are going to be talking about 7.2 congruence. We should be able to identify corresponding parts of congruent figures, write congruency statements for congruent figures, and then determine missing measurements of those congruent figures. So first we have to define a few things. So corresponding parts is our first thing. And corresponding parts are sides or angles of a figure that match. They include sides that are the same length and angles that are the same degree. And corresponding parts again are congruent. And the congruent symbol is what I kind of like to call, looks like bacon. So it has a squiggly line and then almost an equal sign. So corresponding parts can be found. Sorry guys. Okay, so corresponding parts can be found by the names. So if you have right here triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. The angle measures. So knowing that the angle measures are the same, if they give you that the angle measures are the same, or by tick marks. So if you see on here we have little tick marks. I'm trying to find 3 different colors. So let's first go here. If we are given that the name triangle ABC, that's this one here, is congruent to triangle DEF, that means that A is going to be the same as D because they're written first. And then B is second, would be the same as or equal to E. And C would be equal to F. Now if we go down to here, we see that we have A has that one mark there. So our one little mark, I have one little mark on A and one little mark on D. That means those are the same. They are equal. Then I go to B. And B is my green, and that's the right angle. Well, if this is 90 degrees, and this is a right angle, and this is 90 degrees, that means they're equal. That means B and E are equal. And then F is our last one, or C. If you see, it's really hard to see, but there's 2 little marks there, and there's 2 little marks here. That means those are equal. Okay? Then I want to go to the sides. I'm going to go to the side lengths. So here I have 3 tick marks, and there's 3 tick marks. So that means that those 2 are the same. And if I look, AC, DE, A and C are the first and the last, and I'm sorry, I said DF. I didn't say that. D and F are the first and last. So the side length, AC, is congruent to or equal to DF. And we're going to write that stuff down here after a second. Then I'm going to go to the one that has 1 tick mark. So that means that those 2 are the same, those side lengths. And then our last one that has 2, that means those 2 are the same. So now we're going to write congruent angles. So we can start with our A, and we're always going to write it using, it looks like a less than sign, but it's actually a little more rotated up. So angle A is congruent to angle D. Okay. Angle, and I'm going to actually highlight that with my angle, let's do B, is congruent to angle E. And angle C is congruent to angle F. So our B was green, so I'm going to highlight that. And the last one was that yellow. Okay, now congruent sides. So our pink one, and we can actually start with so we're going to do side AB. By doing that, we're going to say that it's the side length, we're going to draw a line over it. So line segment AB is congruent to the other orange, which is DE. And that's my orange side. Okay, and then we'll go to the pink. I'm sorry, yeah, pink. The order in which you write them is not a big deal. But if you start with the A here, I'm going to want to start with the D here. So A and D were the first ones, and then C and F. It's easier to keep them all straight then. Okay, and then my last one is my purple. So CB, line segment, congruent to, I started with C, I'm going to start with F here, FE, line segment. Okay, so this is all the different ways that you can write a congruent statement here, or find the congruent parts. You can use the name. So if you look here, AB is congruent to DE. So the first two of this one is going to be congruent to the first two of that one. So you're going to want to make sure to write, when you're writing the congruent statement, if I didn't have this, I would start with one of them. Say I start with A, well then I need to start this one with the corresponding part of our angle. So A is blue, this one's blue, I start with A here and I start with D here. Okay, so let's write the congruent statements comparing the corresponding parts in the congruent figure shown. So you could, if you wanted to, highlight again. So corresponding angles, you can just go ahead and start. So angle M is congruent to whichever other one has the 1, so angle A. Let's go to the right angle here. Well, this one's a little more tricky, so let's actually go to the N first. So angle N is congruent to angle B. So now I have two right angles here, but this one is straight down from the two curved marks. So I want to look for the other one that is straight down from there. So I need to go angle O is congruent to angle K. And then my last one, angle P, is congruent to angle S. Okay, then I want to go to the corresponding sides. So here I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 tick marks. So side length MP is congruent to another one that has 1 tick mark, so AS. Then I'm going to go to the 2, PO, congruent to KS. Now again, I wanted to make sure to write these. Actually, that's okay. ON congruent to KB, and then my last one is going to be my 4-sided one. NM congruent to BA. Okay, so now I need to figure out the trapezoid. Okay, so trapezoid, if I start with the 1, so M, N, O, P. I want to go in consecutive order. Whichever one I start with, I have to make sure to start with the corresponding part. So that would be trapezoid A, and then I go to N, so I need to go to B, K, S. I'd have to remember my little bacon symbol. Okay. Corresponding parts here. Again, writing corresponding statements. So we're going to start with our angles, the one that has the 1. So angle J and angle G, congruent to angle G. the one that has the 2. Angle L is congruent to angle I. If you see, I start with this one here. My last one with 3 tick marks is angle K and angle H. G, I, H, all from the same one. Okay. Then I'm going to go to corresponding sides. I'll go to the one that has side J, K is congruent to. Now again, I want to, this is flipped. If you see that, it's reflected. So I want to make sure to write the J or the G first, because this has the same tick mark, a number of, it's the same angle. So G, H, it's a corresponding angle, sorry. Blech. Okay, then I'll go to 2, so I'll do JL, side JL is congruent to, so GI. Okay, and then my last side is the 3, so I'll start with L, and LK is congruent to, and I started with the 2, so I'm going to start with the I, H. And if I look here, L and I, they're always the first. And here, L and I. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, and then I want to write triangle. So let's say in this triangle, J, K, L, started with the J, is congruent to G, and I went to K next, which I should have went to L, but that's okay. So I went to K, so H, G, H, I. And don't forget my triangle symbol. Okay. Alright, so triangle ABC is congruent to triangle XYZ. Write the congruent statement comparing the corresponding parts and then determine which transformations map ABC onto XYZ. So if you notice, it does not give you the tick mark, so you have to use the name. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Triangle A. I'm going to highlight the first one. Let's do B. Let's do pink last. C. Triangle ABC is congruent to X, Y, and Z. So here, A and X are the same. Y, B and Y are the same. And C and Z are the same. Alright, so first we can start by pencil. Almost running out of time, so let me try and finish this one. So I'm actually just going to be writing angle B congruent to angle Y. I'm going straight off of here. C is the third one. Third one here is angle Z. So there's my congruent angles. Now corresponding sides, yellow to green. So A to B, side AB, yellow to green is congruent to X, Y. I can do that for all of them. Or I can see A, B are the first two, X, Y are the first two. B, C are the next two, B, C, and then Y, Z. Okay, and then AC would be my last one, the outside. So it would be congruent to X, Z. Okay, and then write a congruent statement. Oh, it's actually, we already wrote that, but now we want to figure out how is it getting from here to here. Well, first it's reflected or flipped over my y-axis, so reflected over y-axis, and then it's translated down. So if I look here, it would be to here, and it's down 2 units, and translated down 2 units. So don't forget this.